I have 10 home buying and selling myths that I'm about to bust and maybe blow your mind. So stick around, listen to these, and see if these could help you either buy or sell in the future. If you're new here, my name is Cbus Nathan. I put out videos every Friday on Columbus, Ohio. I'm a local realtor here, been in the business for several years, and I'm just here to educate you about the market, all the things to do in Columbus, and great nonprofits along the way. I am going to break down some home buyer myths first. We're gonna do 5 of those, and then we'll hop over to the home selling side. So, first myth, and I hear it all the time, is I'm gonna wait for the interest rates to drop. This is a big thing that I feel like maybe your mom and dad told you to do because you need to get that best interest rate. And listen to me, trust me, I want you to have the best interest rate as well. But I have also had buyers who have waited 1, 2, 3 years waiting for interest rates to drop. And the rates have been staying pretty consistent. They went up for a little bit, went down. But if they would have just bought maybe 3 years ago, they could have been locked in at a rate that is very similar to today's rate, and they could have been building equity along the way. Second home buying myth is that you need 20% down to buy a home, and that also is not true. I covered this in another video that I put out a few months ago about 7 mistakes first-time home buyers make. So if you haven't watched that one, click that link and check that out as well. But again, you, depending on what situation you are in, and again, getting connected with one of my lender partners, I know that you see Lauren Walton on here a lot. She's great at breaking this down for you, especially for your first time. There are some programs out there that you don't have to put anything down. I would say most home buyers are putting 3 to 5% down for their first home. So making sure that we can get you in the door with the least amount of cash out of your pocket as possible, but also setting you up for the best success as far as your monthly payment. We are really great at breaking all of that down for you and making sure that you feel safe and secure in this purchase of your home. The third home buying myth is I can waive inspections to win that house. And listen, I will never recommend that. Inspection, the home inspection part of being in contract is, in my opinion, the most important part of the contract. There are renovators out there. Sometimes you can walk into their home and you can see that it's very DIY, or maybe they're good at hiding it, but then once the home inspector gets in there, they reveal bigger problems that could cost you thousands down the road. So that is something I will never, ever recommend. So let's not be waiving those home inspections. The fourth home buyer myth is dealing with new construction. And I'll have a lot of people out there that say, I don't need an agent to deal with new construction. And that is such a lie. I guide my buyers, especially through the new construction phase, like they are my friends, my family. If you really think about it, the builder who is building that new home for you works for that company. So yes, I'm not gonna say that they don't have your best interest in mind, but first and foremost, they have their best interest in mind. So having somebody on your side to show up for inspections, to question how things were constructed, or give you inspectors that can inspect the property along the way, picking selections that will increase your equity within your home, and all of those little intricacies that can feel so overwhelming throughout the construction process. It's so key for you to have an agent who is on your side to work through that. And I will say most of the time that new builder has the buyer's agent commission already built into it. And why would you not use someone who is going to give you sound advice along the way? The fifth and last home buying myth is dealing with, also the inspection side of things, but I can fix it later. And yes, you can definitely fix things in the home later. There are some things, especially during the inspection process, that are easy fixes or somewhat easy fixes. But again, if you have a lot of those things build up over time, then it can get pretty costly. So again, having that mindset of I can fix it later and not giving full thought on what is it going to cost me to fix it later, that is something huge that I would like to bust that myth. Okay, now let's jump into some home selling myths. So first and foremost is the myth of I should price my house high so that I have room for negotiations later. And I get it. If I could price every home high and hope that it sells for that price, I would. But the realistic expectations around the market right now, I set those from the get-go, is that we need to make sure that we're pricing your home for the market to make sure that we get the most buyers in there and that we get a strong offer that we know will get to the closing table. The longer your home's on the market, the more buyer concern and I would say like the trust starts to kind of break down for the buyers on this is a great home for me. So we want to make sure that we set your home up for the best amount of eyes to be on it, the most people through the door, and the best offer in hand. The second home buying myth is I can sell my home without an agent. And I don't know if it's really a myth or not. You can totally sell your house without an agent. And if you are set up to do that, go for it. But the truth of the fact is there are a lot of people out there who would love to sell their home without paying any agent commissions to get the most money. But those agents, and I including myself in this, we're set up for marketing, for negotiating, to have vendors to help you prep your home or throughout the contract period to make sure that everything is taken care of from this moment that I walk in your door the first time to the closing table. So having somebody there to guide you along that way, and plus we as agents, and I will say me especially, I pride myself in putting out the best marketing for homes so that we can garner prices that are maybe record-breaking for that neighborhood. I've had that several times, or just prices that are above and beyond the seller's expectations. Those are huge wins for me. Those are huge wins for you as the seller. So these can be great moments for you to maybe come back, think about it. Yes, you might save some money, but if you're not negotiating the best terms and price for your home, you really could be losing money in the long term. The third home selling myth is I don't need to declutter my house. The buyer can look past that. And this would be a good time for you to go and check out my other video that I put out on things to not do when listing your home. I know I hit several of these in that, but also it's just a great recap and you can learn more along. So make sure you click on that link. But decluttering your area is so important for the buyer to see the space, to envision themselves in that space. And your taste might not be the same as the buyer's, and that is okay. Everybody's a little bit different. And it is really important to make sure that as soon as someone steps into your property, they can see themselves living there. So that is why decluttering and making the space feel open and intentional is so important. The fourth home selling myth is I'm going to wait until spring to sell my home. Yes, spring is historically and usually the best time to list your home. Most buyers are in the market during that time, and sellers are listing their homes because everything's nice and fresh. But if you need to get out of your home for maybe a job relocation or right sizing, or you're moving to be closer to family, there's so many different reasons. Waiting might not be an option. And just because it's not spring doesn't mean that you're not going to get the highest dollar amount for your property. So again, meeting with me and letting you know, maybe we should list your house, during this time because we are also seeing a lot of buyer traction, Or maybe we can do it around this holiday because we know people are traveling in town that might want to see it with family. There are a lot of different ways that we can strategize when to list your home and to make sure that we get the best dollar amount for your property. The fifth home selling myth is all agents are the same. And that also is just not true. I know that I talked about it, I think, in myth number 2, that you can sell your house without an agent, and this kind of goes hand in hand. You know, not all agents are created equally. Having an agent who knows how to market your home, who knows how to look at feedback and adjust pricing strategies, someone who is constantly, in front of your listing, reaching out to the market to see what their perception of the listing is and relaying that information to you in a quick and timely manner is so important. So just like sitting back and letting it go, that is not the way to do anything. That's not the way to do business. So making sure that you have an agent who has their hands on your listing every day and is making weekly or bi-weekly check-ins with you to let you know where your listing's at, what other things we need to do to prep your listing, or do we need to make a price adjustment, or hey, I have this feedback from these clients, so maybe let's give a credit for this or adjust this within your home so that future buyers, when they walk into your property, they can see that that item has been addressed and taken care of. Again, make sure you pick the right agent, and obviously the right agent is me. And I am gonna throw one bonus myth your way that works for both buying and selling, and that is I'm gonna sell my current home before I look for a new one. And yes, you can. There are programs out there that we can sell your home, and potentially you could rent until you find your new home. But we find, and I find especially, if you're just gonna sell your home and then wait till you have that money in your account and then start to look, that is going to cause you to potentially make a panic decision and find a home that maybe doesn't suit your needs the way that you thought it needed to. So again, connect with my lender, Lauren Walton. She's on a lot of these videos with me. There are different programs out there where you can buy a house before selling yours. So if you want to explore those options, I have videos on that as well. Make sure to go and check out ways to buy before selling. And as always, my name is Cbus Nathan. I am a local realtor here in Columbus, Ohio, focus on all things to do around Columbus, nonprofits, the ins and outs of the city, market updates, all of that. So I put out videos every Friday. If this is something that interests you, you want to follow along, you want to learn more about the city that I call home, make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you next Friday.